Hello guys, let's finish with the chapter 6 of class 8, that is human resources. Very importantly, it is the nation's greatest resources we are discussing. Nature's bounty becomes significant only when the people find it useful. It is people with their demands and abilities that turn them into resources. And human resource is the ultimate resource. Healthy, educated, and motivated people develop resources as per the requirements, right? Human resources, like other resources, are not equally distributed over the world. They differ in their educational level, age, and sex. Their numbers and characteristics also keep changing. Distribution of the population. The way in which the people are spread across the Earth's surface is known as the pattern of the population distribution. More than 90% of the world's population lives in about 30% of the land surface area. Right? So China, India, USA, Indonesia, Brazil, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Russian Federation, and Japan are the world's top countries with population more than 100 million. Let's see the density of population. The population density is the number of people living in a unit area on Earth's surface. It is normally expressed as per square kilometer. The average density of the population in the whole world is 51% per square kilometer, right? South Central Asia has the highest density of the population, followed by the East and Southeast Asia. The average density of the population in India is 382 persons per square kilometer, so roughly around 6 times that of the world average. Now, what are some of the factors which affect the distribution of the population? Some of the factors which affect the distribution of the population. Okay, now the factors affecting the distribution of the population. Now, there are set of 8 factors. You can remember it by the acronym Swami ki cool topi kaisi lagi. Okay, so Swami, S for soil, right? W for water. Okay. Me for mineral, Swami, right? So 3 over. Cool for climate. Topi means topography. Kasi, C for cultural, S for social, and finally E for economic, right? So it is well explained here. Swami ki cool topi kaisi lagi, right? Next we move to population change. The population change refers to the change in number of people during a specific time. A very interesting fact here is given. In 1804, the world population reached 1 billion. 150 years later, in 1959, the world population reached 3 billion. This is often called a population explosion, right? So the world, from its inception to 1804, created 1 billion population, and in just next 150 years, from 1804, the world population changed to 3 billion. And in next 40 years, the world population doubled to 6 billion. Okay. The main reason for this growth was with better food supplies and medicine, deaths was reducing while the number of the births still remained fairly high. Births are usually measured using the birth rate, that is the number of live births per 1,000 people. Deaths are usually measured with the death rate, that is the number of deaths per 1,000 people. And migration is the movement of people in and out of an area. Okay. Births and deaths are the natural cause of population change. The difference between the birth rate and the death rate is known as the natural growth rate. The population increase in the world is mainly due to rapid increase in the natural growth rate. Migration is another way by which the population size changes. Now, a very interesting fact, when a person enters a new country, it is known as immigration, and when a person leaves a country, it is known as the emigration. For example, the countries like United States of America and Australia have gained in numbers by immigration or immigration, and Sudan is an example of a country which has lost lots of population owing to the out migration or emigration. The general trend of international migration is from the less developed nation to the more developed nation in search of better employment opportunities within countries. Large number of people may move from the rural to urban areas in search of employment, education, and health facilities. Next, we move to the patterns of population change. The rates of population growth may vary across the world. Although the world population is rising rapidly, not all the countries are experiencing this growth. Some countries like Kenya have high population growth. They had, high birth rates and death rates. Now, with the improving healthcare, the death rates have fallen, but the birth rates still remain high, leading to high population. Right. So this is a good, population chart here. Very high population are the countries, high rate of natural increase of population are the countries like Saudi Arabia, Oman, right? And then the countries like Eritrea, Congo, Angola, right? Togo, Benin region. I don't know which of these is this. Then we have some sub-Saharan African countries like Mali, Chad, and then we have countries just below Mauritania. This country is Mali. So Mali, Chad, and Mali, Niger, and Chad. Yeah, MNC. Yes. And this country seems to be Guinea. Let's see on the world map. Okay, so this is Liberia. Alright, so the country on the Liberia and Sierra Leone is the country on the Western African region, the coastal area. Liberia has its capital as Yamoussoukro and Sierra Leone has its capital as Freetown. And yes, this country is Togo, I was right. And apart from that, Angola and DRC. And one more is Djibouti in the Eastern African region. So these are population where the rate of population growth is more than 3% or more annually. Yeah. And definitely one more Central American country of Guatemala and Belize. Alright. And yeah, definitely Bhutan also, with high population growth of roughly more than 3%. Next, we move to the population composition, a very important part. Now, how crowded this country has little to do with the level of the economic development. For example, both Bangladesh and Japan are very densely populated, but Japan is far more economically developed than Bangladesh. To understand the role of the people as resources, we need to know more about their qualities. People vary greatly in their age, sex, literacy level, health condition, occupation, and income level. It is essential to understand these characteristics of the people. Population composition refers to the structure of the population. The composition of the population helps us to know how many are males or females, in which age group they belong to, and how educated they are, and what type of occupation they are employed in, what their income level and health condition is. An interesting way of studying the population composition of a country is by looking at the population pyramid, also called the age-sex pyramid. So this is the pyramid they are talking. So this is the population pyramid. So the y-axis represents the age group years in 5 years. So 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, so on and so forth. So these, the lower and upper half shows the dependent population, and the middle part shows the independent population or the working population of a country, right? Very important, the total population divided into various age groups of 5 to 9, 10 to 14, the percentage of total population subdivided into males and females in each of these groups, very importantly, right? So on the x-axis, we have divided x-axis into two halves, the male and the females, the red showing the females and the blue showing the males, right? And their percentages, like 0 to 4 age group, how many people are there in the country with the same age group, okay? So let's study about this. See, the shape of the population pyramid tells the story of the people living in the particular country. The number of children below 15 years are shown at the bottom and reflect the level of the birth. The size of the top shows the number of aged people above 65 years and reflect the number of the deaths, right? The population pyramid also tells us how many dependents are there in country, right? As I've already talked, the population pyramid of a country in which the birth and the death rate both are high is broad at the base and rapidly narrows towards the top. The population pyramid in which the birth and death rates are very high, yes. This is because although many children are born, a large percentage of them die. In their infancy, relatively few becomes adult, yes, and there are very few old people. This situation is typified by the pyramid shown for the Kenya, right? So this is a typical graph of Kenya showing high birth rate and high death rate and high infant death rate, right? Okay. Even the people above 75, they very few amount of people live above 75. This shows the high death rate, right? Now the next case is in countries where the death rates, especially amongst the very young, are decreasing. The pyramid is broad in the younger age group because more infants survive to the adulthood. This can be seen in the pyramid for India. Such population contain a relatively large number of young people, which means a strong and expanding labor force. Yeah. So this is the case with India because lots of new infants add to the workforce, and hence, the population is not like that of the Kenya, which is very broad base and pointed tip. So this is the graph of India with lots of young population, independent population, right? So very interesting to see. And in the countries like Japan, where birth rate makes the pyramid narrow at the base, decreased death rate allows the number of people to reach the old age, right? So this is the population pyramid of Japan. Yeah, high birth rate, but the death rate is also very low. Okay, low birth rate makes the pyramid narrow at the base, and decreased death rate allows the number of people to reach the old age. Japan is suffering from low birth rate and low death rate. So this is how the curve looks. The skilled and spirited and hopeful young people endowed with a positive outlook and are the future of any nation. We in India are the fortunate to have such a resource. They must be educated and provided skills and opportunities to become able and productive. Why are people considered a resource? What are the causes of uneven distribution of the population? Swami की टोपी कूल कैसी लगी? Swami की cool टोपी कैसी लगी? Right. So that was the trick. Has grown very rapidly. Why? Yes. Already discussed. This is the role of any two factor, including population change. Yes. better health facilities, and yeah, better food security. Treatment by population composition, yes, discussed. What are population pyramids? Right. Which does the term population distribution refers to? How population specified area change over time? So these are some of the 1999 the world population reached 6 billion. Yeah. What is the population pyramid? A graphical age, sex, composition of the, yes, A. So these are some of the beautiful exercises we can do. Yeah, quite easy, not very tough, factual. So that was all. Let's summarize now. We discussed about what is human resource and the importance they have, the distribution of the population in the world, right? Density of population of India and knowing the density of the world was quite interesting. Factors affecting the distribution of the population, there were 8 factors. Then population change, right? What is birth rate, death rate, and what is migration? What is difference between immigration and emigration? Factors, patterns of population change, in population composition with respect to studying via the population pyramids. So that was all. Thank you.